as I'm sure many of you are aware, at the moment, you have an eviction crisis in the US. Okay, we knew this is coming. So if I recall correctly, back in March, they passed a moratorium on evictions to make sure that people would at least have somewhere to stay, even if they couldn't afford to pay the rent. And that expired as of recently. And what did the Democrats do? If I recall correctly, Ayanna Pressley came up with this, and who else? Ayanna Pressley and Rosa DeLauro and Kamala Harris. Right. So they came up with this thing. You're going to love the name. In true fashion, they give it the worst name possible, right? Like almost on purpose. So the CARES Act is going to run out at the end of the month, okay? And you're not going to have that unemployment anymore, right? So just very quickly, if I recall correctly, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, he said before yesterday that we can't renew this. We're not going to renew the CARES Act. You know why? You know why I said that? Because apparently giving people $600 extra is an incentive for them not to work, which is a bit weird that you would want them to work given that you have a public health emergency and a pandemic. Maybe it's not the best time to work in the first place, right? No. The capitalist machine has to keep going, of course, right? And you and me and the rest of the working class, we're just cannon fodder, right? And they want to reopen the schools in the US. But you know that Donald Trump's son ain't going back. Oh, he gets to stay home from school. Oh yeah, there's a reason for that. But go ahead, you can send your kids back. Everything is fine. These people are devils. I'm telling you, they're devils. And so basically, to try to ease this crisis, Democrats in Congress have proposed new legislation to help Americans facing evictions. Oh, this sounds good. What is it? So Ayanna Pressley, Rosa DeLauro, and Kamala Harris are introducing the Housing Emergencies Lifeline Program, also known as the HELP Act, which will provide funding, here it comes, so those at risk of eviction can what, pay their rent? No. Can access legal representation. And any evictions will do limited damage to renter's credit. Oh, okay. So you screwing them over, basically. Because I'm sure that when somebody gets evicted in the middle of a pandemic, the first thing, the only thing on their mind is their credit score, right? Their renter's credit. That's all they're thinking about. You know, not the fact that they're on the street now and they're out homeless. No, it's their credit score, of course. Once again, right out in the open, the shift of your taxpayer money, your resources, not to you to help you, but to the lobbyists, to the private sector, to the lawyers, their buddies at Wall Street, and the law firms. The corporatists come first, not you. Even when it's you who's being evicted, right? So just like they gave the small business loan money, the PPP cash, to lobbyists and gazillionaires like Kanye West and Elon Musk, and even the Israeli army getting 2.5 million, you only got one check, $1,200. And if you have a small business, screw you. Corporatists come first. The private sector comes first. Dark money groups come first. Not your small business. Wow. 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 So instead of giving you money to pay your rent, no. You can have some money and give it to the lawyers, to the law firms. And don't worry about your credit score, sweetie. Wow. I'm sure that this is exactly the kind of consolation that people in distress, being evicted, thrown out of their homes, are looking for. This is just what they need, right? Another corporate bailout. Wonderful. And to boot, what do they call it? The HELP Act. I mean, you can't make this up, right? When they're screwing you over and executing the largest transfer of wealth in human history of taxpayer money to corporatists, they call it the CARES Act when they're not caring about you. And when they come in to violate your privacy, they call it the Patriot Act. Very patriotic, right? And when they come in to help you during an eviction crisis, they call it the HELP Act. Except they're not helping you. They're helping the lobbyists. They're helping the lawyers. Man, wow. You know, it's like, oh, and how could I forget the HEROES Act as well, which was another one of those packages to screw the middle class and the working class over, right? And help out people in the private sector. Yeah. I feel like they do it on purpose, like just to add insult to injury, just to rub it in your face. Unbelievable. So just to put this into context of what is happening right now, okay? Not only is this $600 extra a week going to expire, not only is this pathetic HELP Act not going to help you pay your goddamn rent or stop you from being evicted, but do you know how many people are at risk of being evicted? Do you know what kind of crisis is about to happen, is already happening? The U.S. is facing a housing crisis at the levels of the 2008 recession. Up to 40 million Americans may face eviction in the next several months. And the crisis is forecast to hit hardest in communities of color, especially for women, as it always does. Every single metric that you can possibly think of, whether we're talking about healthcare, or you're talking about starting a business, or whether you're talking about getting an education at college, or whether you're talking about social mobility, every single metric that you can possibly think of, it is always communities of color that get hit the hardest. You look at infant mortality rates. Who's getting hit the hardest? Who's suffering the most? Black women. There is a reason that this is the case all across the board. It is designed this way on purpose. This is no accident. It's not an accident. Just remember that. Always keep that in mind. You can take any crisis, even Hurricane Katrina. Do you think the response would have been the same from FEMA, from Bush, from the entire government if that had taken place elsewhere? What about Flint, about the drinking water? They still don't fucking have drinking water, man. All these birth defects, all these illnesses that people developed. Do you think the response would have been the same if that took place in Beverly Hills in Hollywood, in some white community? Motherfucker, they would have fixed the water the next day. The next day, not 10 years later. And then you got people that had the audacity to tell you, oh yeah, systemic racism is not real. You motherfucker. I mean, it's on another level, man. It's on another level. Like every single thing you look at is always designed in a way on purpose that, you know, if you are born into poverty, if you are a person of color, if you are African American, if you are a minority, you will suffer 10 times worse, the exact same fate as a white person in the same situation. And I haven't even addressed police brutality, the prison industrial complex, the corrupt criminal justice system, the harsher sentences. We haven't even gotten into that. I'm telling you just about being born into poverty, social mobility, how crises are dealt with, how the government responds to communities that are in distress. I haven't even gotten into the unfair treatment, right? And the genocide and slavery. How is this a just society? This is really messed up, man. So this HELP Act would allocate $10 billion. Okay? $10 billion. That's no pocket change. That's no chump change. What is it going to? Once again, funding legal representation for those on the verge of being evicted. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. These people are so corrupt, they are so morally bankrupt that even if an asteroid was about to hit, they would build a space station and blast off without even telling you. Like, they don't give a shit. They will watch you sink. They will watch you sink and make you pay. It's disgusting. And every single month, you have more and more Americans, millions upon millions, who can't pay the rent, who are not going to pay the rent. But instead of giving you the money so that you can pay your rent and you don't get evicted and throw it out onto the street, no, it goes to the lobbyists. And dude, let me explain something to you. Instead of giving small business money or any money to the Israeli army or to Boeing or to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Kanye West or dark money groups or lobbyists or these stupid lawyers over here, they could have given you that money. They could have made sure that no business has to lay off anyone, that everyone locks down. It's a quarantine for 2 months. No one's getting laid off because the government is going to back everybody up. All right? Small businesses will be fine when it's over. Infection rates go down. You ride out the wave, right? Flatten the curve. And then everything's back to normal. And no one has to get evicted, and no one loses their jobs, and no one loses their health care. Which health care you should have already. But nonetheless. No. Why would they do that? Why would they do what every other civilized country on the face of this planet has done? Why would they help you? Because they don't work for you. They don't work for you, man. They work for the corporations. It's designed this way. And dude, what you saw in 2008 with 1.5 million people getting kicked out of their homes, that was no accident. They knew this would happen. They didn't tell you, and no one went to jail for it. And on top of it, you even paid for their bailout to add insult to injury. And now it's going to happen even worse, man. You're going to have even more people getting evicted. And I saw just yesterday people protesting outside the goddamn court to make sure that they couldn't evict anybody. This is unbelievable. This should not be happening in the richest country on earth, man. This is unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. I mean, it's to the point where, not only are they so bloodthirsty about keeping the capitalist machine going, but like they just really have no respect, just complete disregard for human life. I mean, it's sociopathic. It's at another level. This is beyond just, capitalist greed and exploiting workers. This is some sociopathic shit. I don't know how these people sleep at night. I really don't.